The Florida Gators come to Knoxville. Snow covered, blizzards in town. They come to Knoxville tomorrow for a 5 p.m. basketball game, moved up from 7 o'clock. I'm going to talk about the matchup. I'm going to talk about the clash of styles, and I'm going to give a prediction. Can the Vols take care of business or not tomorrow night? I'll talk about it after this intro. Good evening. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. Thank you for the support so far. Thank you for the views. Thank you for the feedback. It is very much appreciated, guys. Thank you. While you're at it, if you like this, subscribe, share it out. I'd be appreciated as well. See some old listeners from another channel I was on coming over, checking it out. So thank you, guys. But let's get right into it. Tennessee plays Florida tomorrow. The game moved up from 7 to 5 p.m. because of snow in the area. For you guys in Tennessee, with all this snow, enjoy it. Feel free to send some across the mountains here in Carolinas while you're at it. But Tennessee dropped to 6th in the polls this week. Florida currently not ranked. So looking at the KenPom rankings, KenPom has Tennessee 8th, Florida 41st. Strength of schedules, Tennessee 6th, Florida 68 on it. And I'm looking over Florida's schedule and look at their statistics. I'm really not seeing any wins that stand out to me for them. Now, they had the close game against Kentucky that they almost had, but really they're kind of banner wins. To me, they beat Florida State back in November, and they won at Pitt pretty handily. But their losses, they lost to Virginia, they lost to Baylor, at Wake Forest, lost to Kentucky, and at Ole Miss. Lost by 18 at Ole Miss. They bounced back this past weekend, beat Arkansas 90-68. Based on their schedule, I'm not seeing anything concerning to me. But when I was looking at Florida's statistics and how they go, this is going to be, to me, a contrast in styles. Looks like two teams playing two totally different types of ball games. And look at it. So Tennessee lost the last game back in February. So Tennessee currently in this series has lost one road. They have won 7 out of 10. Look at the tape, as you would call it. Florida scores 86.4 points per game to Tennessee 78.7. Field goal percentages, both Florida's a couple points higher, about 46.5%. Tennessee's right at 44. 3-point percentage are almost dead even. Scoring defense, Florida does give up 10 points more per game than Tennessee does. Florida has, in all defensive categories, they do rank higher. Offensive efficiency, Tennessee actually ranks higher than Florida, 20th to 24th, according to KenPom. Defensive efficiency, not even close. Tennessee 3rd, Florida 80th. Here's one I'll be interested to see. Tempo. Florida, according to KenPom, Florida has an adjusted tempo of 11th, Tennessee 80th. So there's a bit of a contrast in styles there. What style does Tennessee play tomorrow night? I dropped a video earlier today talking about Rick Barnes, and did he evolve last week? Or is this a case they're still going to play a half-court offense and still run that half-court defense? Do they implement more of a full-court press? Florida is going to want to run and gun. So does Tennessee try to combat that by going half-court with them? Or does Tennessee try to get out and go? Does Tennessee turn it over to Dalton Connect, who was SEC Co-Player of the Week, which kind of surprised me, but I looked, and Sears for Alabama averaged over 26 points per game last week and wins over South Carolina, Mississippi State as well. So both players had big weeks. So you can say, I think you could probably make an argument both did deserve it for the week. But does Tennessee turn it over to Dalton Connect? Do they turn it over to Ziegler and let them play? I was looking at Florida's size. Florida has some big guys on this team. They have a few guys 6'9" and above, and they are effective as well. They are definitely effective. When looking at Florida's stats, Going back to the individual statistics here, now one thing I looked at was rebounds per game, and they have Tyrese Samuel, big guy around 6'11", averages 13.6 points per game, 8.4. He has numerous double doubles on the season. I may pronounce this wrong, but Micah Handlugton, okay, he averages about 7.6 points per game. Points, he's about 6.6, but this is a dude who 7'1" out of Lake Norman. So that's going to be a guy with some size. Alex Condon for Florida, he is averaging 8.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds. So this is another guy, 6'11" out of Australia. And then their fourth guy, Thomas Hall, he averages about 4.3 rebounds per game, 6'9", 210. So they do have a few effective big guys here who could possibly cause problems. And then looking at Florida's scoring, they currently have 5 guys average over 10 points per game, and then one guy at 8.4 I just mentioned with Condon. So Walter Clayton Jr., 15.9 points per game. Zion Poulin, 15.2. Tyrese Samuel, 13.6. Riley Kugel, 11.5. Will Richard, 10.8. And the main guy to look out for in terms of three-point percentage is Poulin, 43.3 from three-point range. So this is a team can score 86 points per game, giving up about 76. So how does Tennessee match up with that? Well, Tennessee is now up to 4 guys in double digits on the year with Ziegler. He's now over 10 points per game. Of course, Connect's back up over 17. You got Adu and Josiah Jordan-James, who are over 10 points per game as well. Vescovy about 7.7. So that's your main guys for Tennessee. Keys to this game. Does Tennessee turn it over to Connect and let him and Ziegler take it over again? How is Adu and Awaka going to do with these big guys? I think that's a key matchup in this game, and that's going to be my number one thing I'm looking at. How does Jonas Adu and Awaka control that middle? Can they control it, or does Florida have a way that in games Tennessee's lost, it's been the opposing team's big men who've had big games against them? If Tennessee can, there's a part of me thinks Tennessee can play the up-tempo game. They just don't. And I think a Zakai Ziegler, a Dalton Connect would thrive in that. Vescovy, possibly that may open him up, depending on if he's hitting. He's normally a better shooter at home than he is on the road. Same with Josiah Jordan-James. Tennessee's going to need those guys tomorrow night. Again, they're going to have to score. I think Florida will be a tougher team to shut down in terms of defensively or shutting down Florida's offense than before. I feel confident in this, though, because Florida's average margin of defeat is a little over 8 points per game. It is in Knoxville. Florida has not won in Knoxville since 2014. Tennessee is coming off that loss to Florida back in February of last year. I do expect the Vols to bounce back, and I think you'll see a game to where Tennessee's up and running. Can Florida handle Tennessee's full court press if they go to it? It's been very effective against Mississippi State and Georgia. We don't see it a ton when they use it, but when they do use it, it is effective. Do the super seniors. I say super seniors, of course, Connect is a super senior as well, who has really carried this team. He and Ziegler, the last 2 games, have really carried this team. Almost brought him back against Mississippi State. Definitely Connect put the team on his back in Athens last week. And, you talk trash to him, odds are he's probably going to get the last word on it. Does Florida take that approach tomorrow night? How's the environment with the snow in town, the earlier start time? Does this affect the crowd, or is this crowd still going to be rowdy? Normally a good Thompson Bowling crowd. I'm curious to see how that's effective as well. It's hard for me to answer that with the pending weather and with snow still going on. Does that impact travel as well? But I will go out on a limb. I'm going to say Tennessee 85, Florida 70. I feel Tennessee will shut down this Florida game. Jonas Adu and Awaka, Rick Barnes is going to call upon them to have big games tomorrow night. I feel they'll answer the call tomorrow night. Expect another big game out of Dalton Connect, who seems to be hitting a stride again after a little bit of a slump. Zakai Ziegler playing probably his best ball since he's been at Tennessee. Main thing with him is just control the turnovers. A little more control there. I'll go out on limb. Again, I'll say 85-70 Tennessee. Move them to 3-1 in conference going into the game against Alabama at home Saturday. I'll be back with a post-game recap again tomorrow. Now, this is my third video I've released today. I have a lot of stuff coming moving forward for baseball. Florida, Tennessee recap tomorrow evening as well. I'll drop a preview tomorrow evening, probably around 4 o'clock about the catchers for baseball, continuing my 2024 season preview. And then there'll be more as the week goes along. I've got a couple pages worth of stuff ready to rock and roll this week. This channel will be the most well-rounded channel on YouTube. Hands down. I'm going to cover baseball. I'm going to cover basketball. I'm going to cover football and a weekly review. I'll hit a little bit of all of it, bring in some Lady Vols mentions and some Lady Vols news as well. Probably won't cover them a lot, Lady Vols, but definitely high marks worth mentioning. Everybody can say what they want on their channel. This channel will be, without a doubt, the most well-rounded on YouTube. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it out. You guys stay safe. Have a good evening, and go Vols.